again. It's me, Reverend Jill, and Dennis. Dennis is here, aren't you? Yes, he's going to have a nice time chatting to you today, I'm sure. And, oh, yeah, sorry. Thank you for reminding me, Dennis. Yeah, Dennis is just reminding me that I didn't answer properly a question. Didn't answer it properly. No, I know. I'm sorry, Dennis. I said I would later on, though, didn't I? Yes, a question that he asked me earlier on. And that question was, just remind... That's right. Sorry, yes. Why is it, Dennis asked, why is it that we often think of bunnies and things like chicks and flowers and things like that at Easter time? What's that all about? Well, there's a couple of answers to that question. The first answer is Easter always happens in the springtime. And you'll probably notice when you've been out for your walks and stuff like that, that the flowers are coming up. The daffodils are coming up and the snowdrops came up a while back. And before long, the tulips will be out. They might be out already for all I know where you are. And the blossoms on the trees. So that's why we tend to draw flowers a lot. And the little animals, they come out, and lots of little animals are born at this time of year. And we've got eggs, which of course hatch into little chickens. And so that's all about that. It's all about springtime. And of course, when that happens, all of those things are all about new life, aren't they? In the wintertime, it's been very cold and dark. Nothing much has been growing. Nothing much has been happening. No, that's right. But then in the springtime, suddenly all the flowers come up and baby animals are born, and that's why we think of it as a symbol. Those things are a symbol of new life. Well, what's that all got to do with the Easter story? Yeah, you want to know too, don't you? Yeah, you're still confused. Okay, I'm very sorry. I am getting to it. Well, the reason is answered today in our story, because it's all about what happened next. Because if you remember our last video, we talked about Jesus' death, which was very sad. Yeah, I know. Dennis is very sad. Don't worry, Dennis. It's got a very special and exciting ending, I promise. Yeah, and I'm going to explain that in a minute. So it's all to do with what happened next. You remember that? Yeah, okay. So Dennis is going to settle himself down while I get my book and we have a little bit of a story to tell us why those things are associated with Easter and new life. Okay. Okay, Dennis, are you ready to go and sit down? Yeah, good. Thank you. Thank you for joining me, though. And I'll probably bring you back on at the end to say goodbye. Yeah? Okay. Bye. Yes, he's saying goodbye. Off you go. There you go. Now, I've got my book, Easter storybook, and I'm going to pick up the story from where we left off. This is still on Good Friday. This is the end of things on Good Friday. As the sun began to set, Jesus' body was taken by a good religious leader and wrapped in cloth and taken to a private garden where he was put in a tomb that was like a cave. The tomb was closed by a big, heavy stone. Meanwhile, Pontius Pilate ordered soldiers to stand guard around the tomb in case Jesus' body was stolen. They were worried, you see, that the disciples were going to try and take the body away. Night fell. There we go. There's the soldiers standing by the tomb. There's the tomb in the background with a big stone across it, like a cave with a stone across it. Saturday was a special day of rest when nothing was allowed to happen. It came and went. The women who followed Jesus around knew that because everyone had been so rushed, Jesus' body had not been properly prepared for the grave. So, early on the Sunday morning, they returned to the tomb with the special spices needed for burial. But when they got there, they found, to their astonishment, that the soldiers had gone and the big, heavy stone guarding the tomb had been rolled away. Tomb, you can see inside, and that's like some folded up stuff, isn't it, inside? Looking inside, they saw that the body of Jesus was not there, but instead, neatly folded was the cloth in which Jesus had been wrapped. It didn't make any sense, and they were really, really confused as they talked to each other. What's going to happen? Then, suddenly, an amazing angel appeared who told them that Jesus was no longer dead in the grave, but alive. The women ran back quickly to where Jesus' disciples were hiding and told them the news. But they couldn't believe it at first. That Easter Sunday, Jesus began to appear to various people, to all the women and the disciples. And at first they found it hard to believe, but they soon realised there could be no doubt that Jesus was really alive again. And there's the picture of the angel telling the women that he was alive. And they believed, but the disciples found it difficult to believe at first. But once they saw him, they did. Jesus was really alive. They could see him and talk to him and touch and eat with him. It was very exciting news because Jesus had fought with death and defeated it. And for 40 days, Jesus spoke with his disciples and his followers. He appeared to all sorts of people, to men and women, and on one occasion to hundreds of people at once. Jesus explained to his followers that he had defeated death and that they could now know God completely. And that one day they would go to be with him in heaven. Finally, Jesus met with his followers and told them it was time for him to return to heaven. And with those words, he left them in a cloud and disappeared from sight. There's them meeting together for the last time. Jesus, they realised, was God's king, and that they realised too that even though he'd left them so they couldn't see him anymore, he'd promised to be with them forever in their hearts through his Spirit. And that's the same for us today. Jesus promises to be with us in our hearts, in here, by his Spirit, if we ask him to be. New life. It's all about new life. It's about new life now with God and believing what Jesus said. And it's about new life eventually after we die. Jesus defeated death. That's what Easter is all about. And our donkey, Dennis, wanted to know, didn't he, why we want to do show eggs and eat Easter eggs, which apart from the fact they're very nice, and look at chickens and flowers and all those sorts of things. Well, it's very simple, because they are symbols of new life and they remind us of what Jesus did at Easter time. So if anybody asks you, now you know. Okay, I'm going to go for a minute while you listen to a song, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to do our craft activity. So goodbye for now.
Is where his love put up all the story wasn't
welcome back. Nice to see you again. I hope you enjoyed the song. Now, I'm now going to be showing you a craft. Now, at Christmas time, you will possibly remember, if you were asked to do it. If you didn't, it doesn't matter. But a lot of children at Christmas time made some Jesus rocks stones. Or I'm sorry, some of them made them, some of them were given them, and they were a little stone which showed the baby Jesus. Well, I've got a Easter rock now, and this time we're all going to make them. So all you're going to need for this is a rock, a little stone of some description. Here's an example here. Yeah, about that sort of size that fits in the palm of your hand. Obviously, your hands are going to be a little bit... I have got pretty small hands, actually, but your hands might be even smaller. So it's going to fill up your hand, but that's kind of size. But it doesn't matter if it's a bit smaller, that's fine. Or bigger, even. So just a rock that isn't too dark in colour so you can see what you're doing. And then you can use felt tips on it, or you can use paints on it. Acrylic paints are the best sort of paint to use. Watercolour's not very good, but acrylic paints are good. Or I've got the best of both worlds here. I've got the acrylic pens, the ones I've used already, and they're basically like paints but in a pen. If you've got any of those, they're really good because they're easy to control. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I've done so far. So I've done a few of them. I've got, first of all, got ones that directly remind us of the Easter story. So here's one. I've got a rock that I thought looked a bit like, well, I'll show you what I thought it looked a bit like. It looked a bit like the tomb with the stone being rolled away on one side. And then on the other side, I've got like a big sun, and that says risen with a cross in the middle to remind us that Jesus died and then rose again. So that's a sort of Eastery sunrise one to remind us of Easter morning and the empty tomb. And then I've got this one here, which is Jesus with a big white light around him to show that he'd come alive again, and then a cross with he is risen, and the cross is making the eye, he is risen. So that's that one. But then I thought, well, you might not want to do one that's directly related to the Easter story. You might want to do one that's like a symbol of new life. So here's my Easter egg. Okay, I know you often do in Harden. I know quite often Easter eggs are decorated and rolled down the hill at Easter, aren't they? Lovely tradition. Well, this is a bit like that, but it won't be necessarily. I wouldn't say roll this down the hill, but just an Easter egg that you decorate, and then I've just written Happy Easter on the back and a little flower. All symbols of new life. Happy Easter, a little flower, and the Easter egg, reminding us that it's new life, which it's all about. And then lastly, I've just started this one. I've written Happy Easter and a chick, because we haven't used a chick yet. Obviously comes out the egg, but I haven't used a chick yet. In all lovely bright colours, because Easter morning is a bright sort of day where we celebrate. That's why I've got my rainbow colours and bright cardigan on and everything to make me remember spring and new life and so on. But on the back, I thought I might do some flowers growing. So I'm just going to show you, because it's a fairly simple one to show you. I'm going to start by just doing a little bit of grass. Now I can't really see this properly as I'm doing it, so hopefully it'll turn out all right. So I've done a little bit of a wavy line, and I'm just going to fill that in a bit so it looks a bit like grass. The thing is, with it being grass, it doesn't matter if it's a little bit sort of making it. So I've got some grass, okay, and I'm going to draw some stalks just going upwards, but not all the same height, doing them different heights. And I thought, because we're Welsh, most of us are Welsh, I'm not actually Welsh. I've got lots of Welsh ancestors, but I'm not actually Welsh. But I love Wales, and we live in Wales. So I thought we'd do daffodils, okay? So I'm going to draw the sort of petals of the daffodil and colour it in. Now there are some, I'll show you this in a second, there are some daffodils that have like a creamy white centre called narcissi. Some of them have got an orange centre, and some of them are all yellow. So I'm going to do some with a white centre just so as it stands out a bit. So I've drawn that, so that's my petals, and then I'm just going to do a nice sort of trumpet, if you can see it properly. Take my glasses off for a second so I can just see, because these aren't my reading glasses. I should have got those really. And then Not quite as white as I would have liked it, but it's not bad. So that's the... Okay, I'll show you that. So there's my flowers on there. They're not great. That I could have done better than that, really, if I'd spent a bit more time on them. Maybe orange would have looked better in the middles than white. You can play around with it and design it first and then decide. So if you decide to do the flowers, and do any flowers you like, it doesn't have to be daffodils, it can be anything you like. It can be loads of colourful flowers, but flowers and then Happy Easter. I put a little chick on the bottom, or an Easter egg with Happy Easter on the back, and also a flower there, a little daisy type flower. And then we've got Jesus risen from the tomb, like the women would have seen him. He is risen, because some of the women did see Jesus at the tomb. And then he is risen there, with the empty tomb on the back. Have a think, decide what you're going to do, and then, you could do a number of things with these. You could either decorate your house with them, or your garden with them at Easter time, or you could do... Some people found the Jesus rocks in the community and took them home. Somebody else had made them and they found them. It was a gift from other people. And you could do the same back. You could make maybe a few of these and then go and leave them around your community to for other people to find, to remind them about Easter. And just to say Happy Easter, or to remind them what it's all about. Have a think, decide what you want to do, and then hopefully, if you've made some of these and any of the other crafts we've done, perhaps you could post them onto your local church Facebook page, or on the Borderlands Mission Area page, which is also out there. Any of those, we would love to see what you've made. That would be absolutely great. Right, I'm going to close our time now together, our 4 meetings together, with a prayer, and then I'm just going to bring Dennis back just for a moment. So let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for Jesus. We thank you that he came, that he spoke to us about you, taught us about you and how to live. And we thank you that he was prepared to die so that we could come to know you and to be your children. And we thank you for Easter and for all it means, and for the promise of new life because of Jesus. Amen. Right, well, Dennis is really excited about coming back, aren't you, Dennis? Yeah, there he is. He's so you understand now. Oh, fantastic. So now you know why we use bunnies and eggs and all that. Why is that? New life, that's it. Good lad, well done. I'll just tilt the camera around a bit so we can see you a bit better. So Dennis is wanting to say goodbye to you. Yeah, so he's a bit shy though. He's not going to actually say it. He's just going to just smile at you because he's got a good smile. Yeah, lovely smile. And I'll say goodbye, and then hopefully I'll see you around. Good luck with all your craft activities. Hope they go well, and have a lovely Easter. Bye. Say bye, Dennis.